Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
CDQ's Small Engine Garage Work. Husky 2600 PSI Kohler Courage CT-7 173cc Power Washer Carburetor Replacement. Tools needed: ratchet wrench, 10mm socket, magnetic pan, needle nose pliers, cloth or towels, carburetor cleaner, and compressed air spray. Professional protective equipment, PPEs, first aid kit, gloves, goggles, safety coveralls, safety footwear. Please remember to adhere to safety procedures and guidelines. Follow all manufacturer's directions. All right, this is CDQ Drop a Dime YouTube production, and today we got another home handyman job. What we're going to do today is we're going to work on my power washer. Yeah, I have a Husky power washer that needs its carburetor to be replaced. So we're going to replace that carburetor on my Husky power washer. Okay, I believe it's 173 cc's. And what I found out is when I went to start the guy up, there was a fluid leak, gasoline leak from the carburetor. And so I don't want to deal with trying to clean the carburetor out and fix it that way. So I'm just going to replace it because I had this power washer for quite some time now. So again, my disclaimer: I am not a professional in any sense of the word. If you need help with your power washer needs, then please see a licensed professional who can help you with that. But for entertainment purposes only, follow along and see how I make out with replacing the carburetor on my Husky 173cc power washer. Thank you. Okay, as you can see, this is my Husky 2600 PSI 2.4 GPM. And it has a Kohler Courage XT-7 173cc engine. All right, and so what we're going to do is we're going to work on the carburetor, which is located here. So the first thing we have to do is remove this casing, of course, to get to the carburetor. But you want to make sure that you empty the fluid, your gasoline fluid, in your tank. You can do that either by a siphon, or you can remove the carburetor and the gas line that runs to the carburetor. You can go ahead and empty out the tank for that. So you want to make sure that you have that emptied. I'll show you that as we go along, and I'll also show you behind the carburetor where the fluid was leaking. So these are the parts that I ordered from Amazon. I got the part and serial number right off the power washer, and I went to Amazon, and this is a kit that they have. And so the kit came in yesterday, and I'm gonna see if everything matches up. Okay, I do have here my magnetic pan, so that my screws and bolts or whatever I need, I can put in here and won't lose them. If you have something like that, that's good for you. The only other thing I'm going to use is a ratchet 10mm. Okay, so I have the ratchet and a 10mm. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to remove the cover, and we just turn that. And we'll remove the filter. It's a dual filter, actually. You have the first filter and then a second filter there. And we'll see if that matches out. Hopefully that'll match out. But because the leak was right here, dripping down here, normally what happens is that if you open the valve inside, right behind here, you can see the door swinging open and closing. Well, I had continued leak of fluid coming right here when the valve was shut closed. So I assume that the carburetor is completely worn or it's defected in some way. So we're going to remove this casing. We got 3 areas that we have to remove, and we'll go ahead and remove them with a 10mm ratchet set. Okay. And there's a spacer that just fell that was right behind here. So once I see if I can, the spacer's right behind there. Let's put that there. And this is the hose that I was referring to. So we're going to have to remove that anyway. So you can just either pull that out the way and then make sure that's out the way. The only thing that I have now that may be holding this is there are 2 connectors right in the back of here, which you have to disconnect underneath. And it's probably good if you have a set of tweezers or needle nose pliers to actually get these 2 clips. But they're right behind here, and I'm gonna pull these clips, and once I remove it, it's right behind the cover here, but once I remove it, I'll be able to show you what that looks like. But there are 2 clips here. Just got to remember where they go when you put this back together. Okay, so you just grab that with your needle nose pliers and you just pull that down. And there are 2, like I said, 2 of them. There goes the one, and let's get the other one. And there goes the 2, and that'll remove the casings. So it's these 2 clips here that attaches to the inside of there. You can see, hopefully you can see that. These 2 clip onto that. That will release the cover itself. And you can see our carburetor right here. And what I was referring to, hopefully you can see that. Okay, so right here, when you open and close the valve, you can see how that opens and closes that. There are little cables, wire connectors there that connect. There are actually 3 of these guys. Actually, there's a very thin one way back here that you may or may not be able to see. So I'm gonna try and bring the camera a little closer so that you can see that. And then I'll put the camera back on the base. But right here, if you can see that, there's one here with my fingers, and then right underneath there's a little cable right here. I don't know if you can see it, but it's right here, if you can see that. It's a little cable that I'm pulling with the finger. And of course, this one here. And those will have to be removed because that's what is attached to the carburetor. And we have to remove them in order to pull this completely out. Okay, so you gotta remember there's another washer that came right here around the inside of this rubber. We may need it for the carburetor that we replace. Okay, so let's put you back in. Okay, so I hope you can see that. As I said, this washer came right out of there, so there's one inside each side as well. Now, sometimes you can remove these completely you know, but if you can't, you're gonna have to remove these little cables. I'm gonna use my tweezers. I don't want to bend it, but I just want to lift the little. I want to lift the little small one out. There we go. So I just turned this little guy and just pulled right up on that second one. Now let's see if this one is similar to that. Once I get it off, I'm sure. I'm sorry, but the hose that we removed first was not the hose for the tank. It's right here, and it has a clamp on it, and hopefully you can see that. Let's see if you can see that. But right here is our clip. So we just want to cut that with our tweezers and then just move it back towards the back off the pipe. There we go. And that's where you would take your bottle and you would just hold that down there and let the oil run from the tank into a plastic bottle. That way you can empty that way. And it's good to probably have with you a towel or something you might want to put under the bottom here, so that will not leak all over the place. So now I'm able to pour this off, and I can see exactly how to remove this guy. Let's see if I can. I don't want to bend it, but I do want to see how to remove this. Okay, there we go. So I know my head was in the way and you didn't see that, but we got the carburetor off. But what you want to do is, once you take the carburetor off, you want to, you know, just match this up and make sure that you have the right replacement. Okay, as you can see, on the left is the new carburetor from my power washer. On the right is the old one. You can see there's a difference. The difference is that there is a missing valve release on the new one. It's not there, and unfortunately this isn't going to work for me. So I'm going to just work with the old one. And what I had was a leak in my carburetor, so I think that what I'm going to do is try and replace the O-ring, because the O-ring looks really worn. I'll show you that in a second. I took this razor blade right there and I went up underneath it, and first I kind of cut into it and then went up underneath it and moved it out that way. That was the only way I could get that out. On the left is the O-ring that came with the new carburetor. On the right is the O-ring that was removed from the old carburetor, and you can see how flat the old O-ring for the carburetor that we are replacing is flat, and the new one is round. So I think that could be the reason why I'm having a leak of gasoline fluid from the carburetor, is because I think that this O-ring is probably worn down. It's really flat. So I'm gonna put this new one in and see if that was the case, and maybe I didn't need a new carburetor at all. But it's really worn out. It's not round anymore, but completely flat, which came from this area inside here. So I'm gonna put the new one on and see if this, you can see it's a big difference, and we'll see how that works when that goes on here, as we can see. So just seeing that in there now is a big difference, and that may stop the leak or leakage that I was having. We'll see. Put it all back together and see if that works for us. Okay. So this is the old carburetor from the power washer. I tried to clean it up as much as I could. You know, I got really down there. I got the O-ring out and tried to clean around the grooves in there. And also I took my air blower and tried to blow out the anything that was looked like it needed to be blown. Okay, which is right there. Of course, that's the intake for the gas. I kind of blew that out. I blew inside there as well. And on this side, I blew wherever there was a hole, you know, but I tried to clean it up as much as I could. This is the old one, since the other one doesn't have that tensioner for the valve to open and close, so it's not going to fit. So I got to work with this one, and I think it's the O-ring that was the problem. In this spring, I'm not sure what it's called, but if you sand that, it'll help, but just not to sand the tip, which is rubber, but the metal part, you can sand that down just a tad, sand off some of the rust. And of course, when I removed this, I had to remove this guy here and this guy here. So I'm gonna put that back on and show you how that's done. Okay, so what we're gonna do is just go in the opposite direction. So this is just gonna go right back where the rubber part is gonna face down, like such. I'm holding the camera at the same time I'm doing this. And that'll just go right in there. And then it just is seated right there, as you can see. It's got a little hole there where it seats there. And then there's a pin that will put back, and that just goes right between those two there. So let's grab a pen. So here's the pin that I'm referring to, and that'll just go right through there, and we'll push that right on in. There we go. Oops, I'm sorry, you couldn't see it. So the pin just gets pushed in right through here, and that we'll keep that in place. And we'll go ahead and we'll put the bottom piece back on that. Okay. And this is the bottom piece there, and we want to make sure that this screw right here is facing the opposite of this gas line. Okay, so that we would have it go there, facing the opposite way. Okay, and then we'll screw that in with the screw right there. Okay, so you can see I got it facing the opposite direction of the oil line. I mean, the fuel line, which is right there. So that's the way I think I removed it. So I'm gonna put it back together that way. Okay. As you can see, the gaskets that from the old one is here. Let me put it like I have. That's the new. This is the old one, and it's split. It actually split right there. So I think I'm gonna take the one from the new one and put that on. It is different, but I think it'll do okay. Just put that right as such, like that, where we don't cover up the holes. You got the hole here and the hole there and one there. So I think that it'll work. It's not covering anything up, so that might work for us. I tightened everything up, and then I just push that back here, and now we got these two connectors and also this guy here, and of course we'll put the fuel line back in. So what I did is that I had to reattach this cable and these two back to the old one, and now I'm gonna put the new right here, and you just want to make sure that this gas line goes back. I don't think I had a leak here, so and these two clips have got to be right. I'm just going to put these on just to get them started. Sorry. Okay, so we're just going to put these bolts back in. These screws, rather. Just going to hand tighten it. 10 millimeter. Both. She seems to be on there pretty tight now. Okay, put the new filter on that came with the new one. For the filter, what I had to do first is I had to squeeze in the pre-filter here. I put that in first, and then I put this in as such. Just made sure it bend it in there, and then try and squeeze it in, hopefully without dirtying it. And of course, just a little groove right there that these two corners fit in. And then we should be able to go ahead and tighten that up. I'm going to put just a tad, just a little bit of gasoline in there. And we'll see if this joker starts up. Okay, so we've finished putting everything back together again. Now we're going to test this power washer and see if it works. Okay, it appears that I had to turn the water off and then turn it back on and then start it up. So I don't really know what that's all about. Okay, it looks like everything is working. If you like to see the start and finish of the porch cleaning, let me know in the comments below and I'll put that up and show you the beginning and ending of that porch cleaning. Again, this is CDQ Drop a Dime YouTube production. Thank you for watching. Be safe and be blessed. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. Thank you for watching, and may God, through Jesus Christ, both bless you and yours and keep you safe.